My roommate did my makeup today, so if I look more Instagram baddie than usual, that's why. Also, this is kind of my new place. This will probably not be a permanent setup because yeah, there's just boxes everywhere, so yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Laina. TXT performed at the MGMA Awards and they won Top Male New Artist. Taehyun cried. I cried. It was a good day all around. Anyways, the main focus of this video is actually doing a bit of an examination of the VCR and what they did like before the performance, because there was a lot of interesting stuff there. It strongly referenced the TXT universe, so yeah, I'm gonna just get into it just a little bit, just a bit. And a friendly reminder that if you like these kinds of videos, please give this a thumbs up. Also, I really hope the audio works because I just realized how echoey my room is right now. It's fine. Let's take a look. I'm not sure how much of the actual MGMA footage I'm gonna actually use, so I'm probably just gonna do screenshots. So if I'm reading off my phone and you can actually see this, yeah, I just don't want this video to get taken down because the MGMAs are like, no, you actually can't use our video footage. So, the performance opened on a little girl reading a book, and in the official broadcasted version it said, "We're dreaming, we're growing on the screen." That's definitely something really new. I mean, sure, TXT has had growing and dreaming as their theme before, but they've never explicitly said the word growing. At least not to my knowledge in any sort of advertising way. I've never seen it used before. I actually think that this is a hint to the next album. If you've seen my super long breakdown of the TXT universe, click the card. You might be familiar with the fact that I think that each of the albums will be centered around a certain shape which represents a certain member. So Star represents Yeonjun, and I think that the next one actually might represent Soobin. My prediction is the album will be called The Growing Chapter, Flower, since that's Soobin's shape. It's also the shape that made the most sense with growing, although I can picture circle or something as well, which would be Taehyun, I think. I posted this title just on Twitter last week actually, and one of my friends created a little graphic for it, which is this one, and it's really great. They actually do all sorts of graphics like this, and they also do translations, so you should definitely go check out their Twitter and my Twitter. I will have them both linked in the description below. Very directly, this girl is reading a storybook, and this book represents the entirety of the album. We can see that from the back because you can easily read the album listing and all the names and everything. And this is not for the first time. I believe TXT is suggesting that they're actually part of some sort of fairy tale universe. We saw this before in a VCR that was actually Taehyun's VCR. It was shown in the showcases that they did in the USA as well. Another hint to this album is actually the lights that are shining on the ground around the girl. They are purple and / pink. I'm not sure. They're kind of purpley pink. Flowers. The point is they're flowers. And they're being projected on the ground around her. Once again, let me just reiterate that. Flowers. The growing chapter. Flower. I'm really excited. Okay, I actually feel like 60% confident in this one, which is higher than 50%. You know what? It's a coin flip, but and then some. It's heads of a coin flip, because coin flips never just land on tails. They always land on heads. It's like that. I feel fairly confident. I might be eating my words in a month and a half, but it's fine. My friend Adika from Twitter, his link will be in the description below. He's actually talked about the fact that the number 6 seems to be very important to TXT. It's in a lot of their imagery and everything. It's all over the place. And he did point out to me that the flowers that are being projected onto the ground actually have 6 petals as well. So that could be important. I haven't been able to find any relevant information about the number 6, but I do think that you guys might have other ideas, so I feel like it's always kind of important to mention these things because you never know, really. The voiceover then says, There were boys with the same dream. As the dream got bigger, pain came along. I tried to do that really dramatic. Did it work? The tree then starts to grow exactly where I assume Yeonjun would be dancing. Once again, Yeonjun is our main character for this chapter. I'm guessing that it would have looked like horns were sprouting out of his head with the tree imagery, which fits with the whole crown, like horns growing out of my head, but I love it. Yeah, that one. It also kind of happens right after the voice said the dream got bigger, pain came along. Anyways, my point is that the tree is a visual representation of his pain growing larger. The second person, who's technically the first, but once again, we're counting Yeonjun as the first person even though he wasn't there because that's the only place he could have been dancing. And I don't think they had time to change the choreography, so Yeonjun was the first person even though he wasn't technically there. Subin, the second person to appear. Once again, this is Subin coming right after Yeonjun, and then Subin will be the second album, and then Taehyun will the next one, Kai, and then Bongyu. It further proves the fact that this is gonna be the album order to me, that Subin's album is gonna be next, that the growing chapter Flower is gonna be next. It might be like the glowing chapter Bloom or something, like they might go out of the water and say that it's something not quite what I assume the shape to be. He does a fantastic dance, shows off that his listening or his dream that turns to pain, if you want to go by that logic, is his ears, and just before he appears, the screen actually goes red, and then once he appears, slowly fades back to blue, and once again, the red actually did seem to kind of almost grow into the screen before fading in. The growing chapter. I think that this kind of shows that sometimes growing can be painful, but it does fade away. And then things just become normal again. And basically, I think that's kind of what Subin's arc is going to be. Yeonjun's was about the fact that he went through this pain, the horns, and found someone who shared that with them, and then I think the next chapter will be them growing into it. The second person that you see is Taehyun. His dancing incorporates the telescope, like spyglass, that he uses in the Nap of the Star music video. However, the background actually noticeably changes, which is really exciting. It turns totally black and then kind of looks like smoke appears. And then the best part is that we get to see the cat's eyes from Nap of a Star, but they're both the same color. In Nap of a Star, they were noticeably different colors. Here, they're the same color. However, it cycles through a couple colors, and then right before the whole thing disappears, they flash red. I have actually connected Taehyun to this cat in the past, so the fact that the eyes show up specifically when he's the one who's dancing, it's really interesting to me, and it makes me wonder if they really are connected, especially since Taehyun's own pain is his eye. The cat in the music video and Taehyun were also the only ones with two different colored eyes, so they kind of match in that way. And once again, that was initially one of the reasons why I linked them together. I think this might also mean that Taehyun's chapter will be the third chapter to appear. Another thing that happens here is that a thicket of trees actually grows in, where Subin was dancing, but only on his half. The side with Taehyun is totally normal. Next we see Kai. Once again, he emphasizes his pain, his heart, in beautifully done, really dramatic choreography. And additionally, at the end of his choreography, we actually do see him spread his wings to symbolize flight as well. This matches the wings that he has in Nap of a Star. On the screen, birds actually physically fly out from him before circling around the screen and flying out of sight. But a couple of them are still visible and flying around until it comes to Bonggyu's part. Bonggyu's really powerful choreography centers around his left shoulder. Behind him, we actually see the trees kind of growing around him. They kind of look like they're trapping him, like he's in a cage, just a little concerning. But we've seen this imagery before in the Nap of the Star music video where he literally looks like he's trapped in something. Interestingly enough, towards the end, a bird actually dives into the spot where the Bongyu had been dancing and where that cage was. Then from left to right, they all do something related to their pain. Taehyun literally seems to take his eye out and present it to us. He's like, Bongyu sits in the cage holding his shoulder. Yeonjun would presumably be doing something with his neck. Kai Sky is holding his heart, and Subin is miming using the sonophone thing that he uses in the music video. I know that from the right angle, it kind of looks like he's using Taehyun's like eye spyglass telescope thing. I am fairly certain he's actually going like this. There are a couple fan cams where they're like, oh, he looks like he's looking through, but I don't think that's right. Because why would they only change Subin's? Also, the hand positioning is exactly the same. Throughout this whole sequence, a thicket of like thorns is growing across the screen and just like generally obstructing it. Then they all turn around and disappear. Sky suddenly fills with stars, and the thicket and the trees disappear and kind of recede back to nothing. And the boys all seem to be kind of like reaching out towards the middle where we assume Yeonjun would have been. So this kind of directly is showing like the end of the Nap of the Star music video, where they're all reaching out towards Yeonjun. Presumably Yeonjun would be doing something different there, like maybe he would be on the ground looking up or something. I'm just guessing, that's all just speculation. The idea is still there. The star bursts into light and then they all look up. The direct understanding for this would probably be that pain disappears when they are together, since you know, that's kind of what the tree was representing, right? And that's faded as soon as they all were together. But I also don't think that the tree or like the horns for Yeonjun were actually his pain. And we know this because of the throat and the flowers on the throat. So that's why I think with Subin's story, they're actually going to be talking about growing out of it or growing into it, perhaps. The screen then focuses back on the girl reading the book again, and the voiceover says the 5 boys weren't lonely anymore because they changed each other's lives. Just like magic. Magic is a central theme for Crown. Changing just like magic. They sing the equivalent of abracadabra in their song. Stop the suffering, abracadabra. Stop the loneliness, abracadabra. Because they've met, their world changes like magic. The girl then closes the book, gets up and walks away. Do you want to hear more of their stories going on now? To me, this implies that the boys have like grown up more. And now that it's a little bit later, we can see how they've improved and how they've changed. Like snapshots of their lives as they learn and they grow together. Life has a lot of like little ups and downs, so it'll be really interesting to see where their stories take them. And then Crown starts to play. There isn't a ton that goes on during Crown, and there's even less that I can like really make sense of or explain properly at this point in time anyways. But I do want to just like talk about and connect what I do know, just to like get it out there. During Crown, the background starts in like a forest area, which is probably not surprising since it was like in Nap of a Star there was a forest, although this forest is much more lush and green than the Nap of a Star music video, which was literally a death forest. And then after the chorus, it pans up into the sky and settles on the moon above the cloud. When the chorus hits, it's like something bursts open and all of these things start flying towards us. On the right side, we see the shape of Orion, a deer, which is almost exactly how we always see this depicted. We also see another deer behind Orion facing a different direction, and then what appears to be like a whale. It looks like a whale. I've shown it to a couple people and their first thought was always this whale does have a crescent moon in its eye and swirls, filling the whole thing, which is interesting because TXT, like the members themselves, have actually been using swirls a ton. Like when they did drawings and stuff like that, they'd be like, tomorrow, but together, the O's would be like circles or something. Spiral. Did I say circles? I mean spirals. The whole time they've been using spirals, and spirals have very interesting like mythology attached to it. Spirals generally signify a journey and the changes as life unfolds, so it's very fitting and on concept, on trend for them to be using spirals. Of course, the whale is actually the only thing that uses spirals, so like, is it the whale of life? Is this some, I feel like there's a pun that I'm missing. Like this is a pun. On the other side of the screen, we see a catfish that is swimming constantly in a circle, and a bear. And there's also like a stone like carved shape bear thing. It looks kind of like a bear. It looks like it's in the exact same position as the actual bear, but like it's just very polygonal. Could be a stone, it could be like a glacier or something. I don't know. And finally, we actually see the outline of a circle with an arrow. And I believe that this represents Sagittarius, which is Subin's sign. And keep in mind, he does do the choreography for crown and he does like the arrow thing. Same thing, pretty sure it's representing Subin. Actually, if we wanted to, we could probably connect the catfish to Beomgyu as well, because he's Pisces and that represents fish. It's literally the sign with all the fish. We also see like various other shapes and things, but I honestly cannot properly identify them, or at the very least I'm not really sure what most of them are. Like what is this? It's like a glob and it's got a little Dorito in it. Anyways, I'm going to ignore them. However, Twitter user Serious Star actually created a whole theory based around these shapes and everything, which do have to do basically with the star signs and the Chinese zodiac. So I will link that in the description below if you're interested. Anyways, I think that's about it for this video. TXT just announced like yesterday that their comeback is unfortunately being pushed from the end of August to the end of September, so that's really sad. I hope that the boys like take their time recovering, especially Yeonjun and Subin, and just that they practice a lot, and then their comeback will be better than ever, and I hope that this rest is really good for them. So I'm sad, but also I completely understand, like, health comes first. In the meantime, we over here on my channel will be continuing to look at all of the TU content in my Closer Look series, so yeah, if you're interested in that, actually click the card because I will lead you to the playlist and you can watch that. And anyways, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment letting me know about your thoughts. And if you want to see more, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that YouTube tells you right away when I post a new video. As always, stay sunny everyone. Until next time, bye! TXT performed at the MGA. Wow, I can't speak. It's the second sentence. I am so energetic right now. I have no idea why. It's literally 10:53. It's 10:53 p.m. By the way, that's not. Oh, okay. You know what? Don't get to see him anymore. As always, stay sunny, everyone. Until next time, bye. I can't say my own outro. As always, stay. There's so